If you want the wealth bad enough, you can create it. It takes huge sacrifice. I just want my kids to respect me, not love me, because I want, unlike you, what your parents did to you, leaving you in a sack of shit that you are now, I want my kids to be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it with their own money. You can't do that. Your parents didn't do that for you. Some of you will say, well, my parents didn't stress monetary wealth. In my humble opinion, and there's nothing humble about me, it's because they had no wealth. When you list how many hours you work and how many hours you waste, at least half of you in this room waste more time in a week than you work. Probably 3/4 of you, maybe even 80% of you. But when you have to list every fucking hour, every fucking minute, and when I tell you most of you ought to just shut down your Facebook, shut down WhatsApp, all the social media, and then you got a chance. And your reports are, what did you do this week? What do you plan on doing next week? Problems, challenges. And then we've added just in the last couple of years, the last section, what am I not telling Dan? Which is opened up Pandora's box. But that's a military format. And if what you're going to do next week doesn't correspond in the next week's report with what you did, then there's a mismatch. When you say you're going to do 10 things and you probably only get done the top 3 or 4, but if you say you're going to do them and then the next week what you did doesn't correspond with what you said you're going to do, in the beginning you'll be very much surprised, most of you. What you will get done next week has nothing to do with what you think you're going to get done. And so why does it take so long? But 95% of you suffer from the same thing. You couldn't manage your way out of a fucking wet paper bag. And why? Nobody's ever held you accountable. And you've never held yourself accountable. Because in life, you're not going to always have somebody making you accountable. You got, the reports are for you. I review them to see, what's working, what's not working. If everybody is doing the same thing, making the same mistake in the first 2 or 3 weekly reports, it's because I missed something during the seminar. That doesn't happen, really. It doesn't. And when I tell you asked and answered, that means it was asked and answered multiple times in the seminar. You just weren't listening. And the people that have done the best, the other statistic that we've kept, the people that have done the best since the managed mentor program since August of 2010 are the people that take notes. Take notes. We've had some people in the seminar that when they get back, they rewrite their notes and they categorize them. That's a little much for me, but for some people, they use the learning experience like when they went to university. For those of you that went to university, and they learn better. How many times have you heard love cures everything? That's a load of shit. Hey, muscle pretender, you didn't get those muscles because of love, did you? Hard work. Unless you got padding in your arms, hard work got that, right? Hard work is the motherfucking answer for everything. Not love. If love worked, there'd be no wars. If love worked, we wouldn't be about to bomb Iran back into the Stone Age. From my buddy Donald Trump. By the way, I'll say it now. I was one of the first endorsers of President Trump. I've known him a long, long time. I haven't dealt with him in 20, 25 years. But the U.S. needed a shaking up. And he was 1,000 times better than the alternative. Just like Brexit, they wanted to shaken up. But Donald will do the things he says. And for those of you that have relatives living in Iran or Syria, I'd ask them to move quickly. Because they're going to be back into the Stone Age. Nothing left of them. And unless you use leadership, like the Viking bitch that you saw yesterday, you're going to go on Reddit and say QLA failed. No, QLA doesn't fail, kids. You failed. And I tell you, I keep saying because, I was reading YouTube. I don't hardly ever answer. I didn't answer anybody on YouTube. But it's you. QLA can be used by anybody, but not anybody can make it work. There's a big difference. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. You know, back in caveman days, when the adults, old people, their teeth fell out, the kids chewed their food and then gave it to them to swallow because the parents had no teeth. In Asia, many of the Asian countries, the kids are their pension plan for them to be able to support them when they get old. Many Latin families are the same. You're their pension. You're their 401k in America. You're their pension plan. I would rather be dead than have to depend on my kids for anything. Why should I be a burden? Next time a conversation comes up, ask your parents, why should you be a burden on me? Ask them. There's no reason. None. And for you, all those of you that are raising kids, why should you be a burden on your kids? You shouldn't be. I said, well, can you tell me without telling me anything private shit, you know, that's in the news that maybe I don't know, other than Mr. Cruz is a Scientologist, apparently. He says he gets up every morning, 4:35, like he didn't make a penny or a picture or wasn't famous. Every morning of his life, 7 days a week, he gets up like he's starting from scratch. And he moves quickly. He walks really fast. And he was with him 3 or 4 years, and he said that he's a terrific guy. He goes off to his Scientology meetings once or twice a day. But he works like he never did anything successful. And he's one of, the icon movie guys of the last 30 years. Well, people won't want to come to work with you. Be my guest. I don't want people that aren't willing to live under those restrictions. Well, this is a free world now, Dan. Not here, it's not. Not here, it's not, sweet pea. Take those big tits and that big ass and go someplace else. And have the sexual harassment suits line up over here. Because I don't care. And I've been doing this now for 50 fucking years. And I have 0 sexual harassment suits. 0. Well, how can you get away with talking like that? I don't know. But I do. Maybe they think I'm going to kill him. At least that's what the theory is, the myth.